Hello everyone, this is Rig and today we are going to discuss about the 16 Mahajanapadas in ancient Indian history. This is one of the most important topic if you are studying for ancient history, if you are doing graduation in history or if you are preparing for any kind of competitive exams. So without doing any delay, let's get into details about 16 Mahajanapads. Now, while discussing the Mahajanapads, we need to understand the sources. The sources are mainly later Vedic texts like the Upanishads, Puranas, and also other kind of texts like Dharma Shastras or epics in Sanatan Dharma. So these all together have historicity in it, but it is difficult to establish the political genealogies, the genealogies of different dynasties, who came after the other. It is very difficult to establish as a fact. The Vedic texts such as the epics and Puranas present a blend of myth and history, making it challenging to derive clear and reliable genealogies for ancient Indian rulers. So all the Vedic texts are a blend of myth and history. It is not entirely true, neither it is entirely false. There is historicity in it, and so it is very challenging to derive reliable genealogies. Many of the genealogies listed are uncertain, with figures like Yudhishthir from Mahabharata being considered both historical and mythical. So Yudhishthir is a character, for example, it can be considered both as a historical character. Maybe there was a person, maybe no, there definitely must have been a person named Yudhishthir, and later he has been depicted in the epic of Mahabharata. But whether entire of his life is true or not, that is very difficult to establish. Textual sources like Purans name many kings without reliable historical evidence, leading to questions about their authenticity. So there are names of many kings, but there is no reliable historical evidence to corroborate their existence with any other kind of historical sources. Kings like Parikshit and Janmejaya are mentioned in genealogies, but their historicity and exact chronology of their reigns are subject to speculation. So when they reigned, when they were in power, it is very difficult to establish because exact chronology cannot be established from the epics. The intervening myth and history complicates the understanding of Vedic and later historical figures, necessitating a careful interpretation of ancient text. So there is a combination of mythical facts and historical facts. So one needs to carefully interpret all the sources in order to understand the ancient history. Now, area of the 16 Mahajanapads. What was the area in which all these 16 states functioned? The Mahajanapads were spread across the Indian subcontinent, encompassing regions from modern day Afghanistan to Bengal in the northeast. So it encompassed an area right from northern Afghanistan to the east of Indian subcontinent in Bengal, and few estimates have been said that the area was up to the state of Manipur itself. Geographical distribution included a diverse array of urban and rural settlements, indicating a complex social structure. So there was both urban settlements and rural settlement in each of the states, and that indicates a complex social structure. Cities and states in South India, like the ones in North India, also became visible a centuries later, marking the southward expansion of these polities. So cities in South India also became prominent during this period, and thus we get an understanding that there was southward expansion of different political entities. However, recent research suggests that South Indian territories may have been much earlier than the North Indian territories. So this is a subject of controversy, and recent archaeological excavations in various sites of South India have given indication that the South India developed on par with the North Indian or before the North Indian civilization. The 16 powerful states listed in Buddhist text, which is Anguttara Nikaya, included Kashi, Kosala, Vajji, Magadha, among others, signifying a vast expanse of these political entities. So these are the significant states mentioned in Buddhist text, specifically the Anguttara Nikaya. Jaina texts like Bhagavati Sutra provide a slightly different list of Mahajanapadas, further illustrating the extensive area covered by these states. Now, Buddhist and Jaina text, what are the things we can get from, what are the sources of information regarding the Mahajanapads we can get from the Buddhist and Jaina text? Buddhist and Jaina text provide valuable insight into the political landscape of early 6th century BC India, listing 16 powerful states known as Mahajanapads. So all these texts give a list of 16 most powerful states which are called as Mahajanapads. Apart from the Mahajanapads, there were numerous smaller states, chiefdoms and tribal principalities, highlighting the political fragmentation of the period. So not only did the Mahajanapads exist, along with them there were chiefdoms where there may not have been monarchical form of state, but there was a chief from a particular tribe, and there were different other tribal principalities also, along with the monarchical form of government called Mahajanapads. The list of Anguttara Nikaya and Bhagavati Sutra offer details about these polities, such as their capital and relationships with each other. So all these texts show us through different stories, they explain the relationship between them and connections between them. The historical context provided by these texts is essential for understanding the complex web of alliances, warfare, and political strategy in ancient India. So if we study the relationship between all the 16 Mahajanapadas, we will see that there was wars fought between them, there were alliances made between them, and all this reflect a complex political strategy in ancient Indian subcontinent during the 6th century BC. These texts are also significant for their depiction of both monarchical states and non-monarchical political entities like Sanghas and Ganas, presenting a diverse array of governance model. So now we will go into the two kinds of states. What were the two kinds of governments which functioned during these times? Ancient India saw two major forms of governance among the Mahajanapadas. The monarchies were called as Rajas, and oligarchic states were known as Ganas or Sanghas. So there was a monarchical form of government in a few states, and the monarchies were called as Rajas, and there were a community based form of oligarchic state known as Ganas or Sanghas. The term Raja denoted a single ruler, typically a king, who exercised authority over a territory and its people, as seen in monarchies like Magad. So Magad is one of the most prominent of the 16 Mahajanapadas, and the term Raja usually denotes a single ruler, a king who exercised the ultimate authority over his dominion. Oligarchies were led by a group of people rather than a single ruler, often mistaken in translations as republics but more accurately described as collective rule by a committee or an assembly. So there was a group of people and they were the assembly which governed over their state. So mistakenly it has been translated into republics, but that is not the fact. Here a committee of people ruled over the state. States such as Vajji and Malla were examples of sanghas where power was shared among the members, leading to unique forms of collective governance. So this was very much unique form of government where power was shared among the members of a committee. The distinction between these type of states is significant for understanding the political diversity and dynamics of power distribution in ancient India. Now we will go to all the 16 Mahajanapads one by one. Here we will start with Kashi. Kashi is bounded by rivers Varuna and Ashi, one of the most important states of northern India, reflecting a long-standing political and religious significance. This name Varuna of a river, Varuna and Ashi are two important rivers which is bounded in the city of Kashi, and these together make the name Varanasi. So the capital Varanasi, which is modernly called as Benares, is located on the banks of Ganga, was a center of political authority and religious learning, with its rulers aspiring political paramountcy. So the rulers of Varanasi wanted to gain political power and supremacy, and the name Varanasi comes from the two rivers Varuna and Oshi. Kashi experienced rivalries with neighboring kingdoms like Kosala and Anga. At one point, it was one of the most important and powerful states in the region. So Kashi was a very important state and it had fought wars with other Mahajanapads like Kosala and Anga. Despite its might and influence, Kashi was eventually absorbed into Kosala kingdom, illustrating the ever-changing political landscape. So at one point of time, Kashi lost its power and was absorbed in the kingdom of Kosala. Kashi's history is marked by both matrimonial alliances with other ruling families and conflicts, evidencing a complex interplay of warfare and diplomacy. Now Kosala. Kosala is the next most important state, and here you can see the map of Kosala, which is very close to the border with modern country of Nepal. Kosala's territory extended over northern and southern parts, with its capital at Shravasti and important city Kushavati located in southern Kosala. So these were two most important cities. The capital city was Shravasti and Kushavati was another important city which was located in the southern part of Kosala. During Buddha's time, Kosala was an influential monarchy which later texts suggest may have been shared by the Shakya clan, whose domain was to the north. So Kosala was very influential when Buddha was at power, when Buddha was spreading his messages throughout Indian subcontinent. That time Kosala was a very influential monarchy, and it has been speculated that the Shakya clan used to govern over the northern part of Kosala. King Pasenadi, a contemporary of Buddha, was a prominent ruler of Kosala and played a pivotal role in kingdom's political maneuvers. So in the Buddhist text, there has been a name of a king of Kosala found, whose name was King Pasenadi, and he was very much influential in the politics of those times. The story of Buddha's interactions with Kosala, including his relationship with King Pasenadi, provides insight into the kingdom's culture and governance during the period. Next up we have Anga. All these states have been mentioned directly or indirectly in Mahabharata, and in Mahabharata, if you have read the entire epic, you will know that Anga played a very important role because it was where Karna ruled. Karn, the Surya Putra Karn, ruled in the territory of Anga. Anga, with its capital at Champa, was strategically placed along major trade routes, becoming a prominent commercial center. So Anga was very much close to Magadha. You can see in the map, and it was a very much important commercial center. The region was known for its fertile lands and for producing fine linen, which was traded extensively. So you can see this is very on the banks of Gangetic plains, on the banks of Ganga river. So it was very much fertile, and so agricultural production was very much high in Anga, and also it was most important for the fine production of linen. Under King Bimbishar of Magad, Anga was annexed, illustrating the aggressive expansion policies of Magadhan rulers. So when King Bimbishar was the ruler of Magad, that time he annexed Anga. Anga had matrimonial alliances with Magadha, which eventually played an important role in the integration of Magadhan Empire. So Anga, the rulers of Anga, developed matrimonial alliances, marriage relationships with that of the rulers of Magad, and thus it became integrated into the Magadhan Empire. The kingdom's history during the 6th century BC reflects the dynamic nature of political alliances and territorial expansion in ancient India. Now, the most important of all the Mahajanapads is Magad. Magad emerged as a major power during 6th century BC, with its capital initially at Rajagriha and later moving towards Pataliputra, indicative of its expansive influence. So Magad was the major power during 6th century BC. It was initially not that much important of the Mahajanapadas, but later Magad expanded and conquered almost all of the Mahajanapadas in the north. So Magad is very important, and it had its capital at a place called Rajagriha, which is modernly called as Rajgir, and later the capital was shifted to Pataliputra. The kingdom was bounded by Ganga, Son and Champa rivers, marking a territory rich in resources and strategic advances. So it had important rivers all around itself. Thus, it was very much important for its rich resources and strategic advantages. Magad was under the rule of Haryanka dynasty, which was succeeded by Shishunag dynasty, signifying a political period of transition and consolidation. So there were many political dynasties in Magad. In our next video, we will discuss about Magad only, how it emerged. So for now, we are giving a very much summarization of the history of Magad in this video. It became a central power in ancient India due to its strategic location, resource-rich area, and effective governance. So this was the place which developed into the central power in ancient India. Magad's prominence is frequently referred in Buddhist and Jain texts, and it played a crucial role in shaping the political and cultural landscape of the region. In our next video, we will focus solely on how Magad rose to power and slowly conquered all the other Mahajanapads. Vaji. So this is another one important territory. Mainly it is very much significant because it was a Gana Rajya. Vaji, located north of Ganga, was a confederacy comprising several clans, and most prominent being the Lichavis, who had a republican system of governance. So this territory was not ruled by a single family. It was a confederacy comprising of several clans, and most prominent clan among them were the Lichavis. The capital of this confederacy was Vaishali, which was an important hub for commerce and politics. So Vaishali was the capital of Vajji confederacy, and this was a trading point and also a point of politics. The alliance of clans is believed to have provided a strong defense against expansionist ambitions of neighboring states like Magadha. So Vajji was very much prominent because of its resistance against expansionist activities of Magadhan Empire. The detailed organization of the Vajji Confederacy is provided in early texts describing a complex society with assemblies and elected officials. The structure of Vajji Confederacy offers insights into the practices of early democratic governance in ancient India. So democracy is not a new concept to the Indian subcontinent. We find different examples of democratic practices being followed right from the period of ancient Indian history. Malla. Malla is another most important state in the among the 16 Mahajanapadas. The Malla kingdom consisted of two main administrative centers, Kushinara and Pava, which later became the sites where Buddha is said to have passed away. So in Malla, it was believed that Buddha had passed away. The Mahaparinirvan occurred in the site of Kushinara. Initially a monarchical state, Malla later developed into a Sangha or a confederacy, mirroring the political evolution seen in some other Mahajanapads. So it was a monarchical state in the beginning, and later democratic evidences were seen in the state in the form of a confederacy, and thus we see a political evolution in Malla from monarchical form of governance to confederacy form of a government. Malla was involved in network of alliances and conflicts, most notably with its neighbor and sometimes ally, the Vajji confederacy. So Malla always had some kind of love and hate relationship with the Vajji confederacy. The transition from a monarchy to a Sangha reflects the shifting political landscape and the movement towards more collective forms of governance. So here we see an evolution in the form of governance. Malla Confederacy's history is emblematic of diversity and adaptability of political structures in ancient India. Chedi. Chedi is another most important territory among the 16 Mahajanapads, and it is on the western part of Kashi. It is more or less in central India. Chedi is situated in the eastern part of Bundelkhand in central India, illustrating the spread of Mahajanapads across diverse geographical regions. So here we find a state existing in the Bundelkhand area. Thus, we can understand that the Mahajanapads spread across diverse geographical regions. Its capital was Sothivati and the kingdom played a significant role in Mahabharata, one of the India's greatest epics. So there was in Mahabharata, there is a story where Chedi king Shishupal was beheaded by Krishna for committing numerous offenses against one's character. So therefore Chedi is another most important territory which has been mentioned many times in Mahabharata. Chedi kingdom mentioned in these epics suggest both its historical importance and interweaving of history with legend and mythology. So Chedi kingdom being present in the epics reflects a complex relationship in Indian history between historical facts and mythological legends. The kingdom of Chedi was known to have had encounters with notable figures from the Mahabharata, indicating its prominence during the epic age. So one such story I have already said, and another story was that Yudhishthir, in order to become a kingdom, in order to become a Chakravarti Samrat, which means Samrat or a ruler of the entire Indian subcontinent, had to get the support of Chedi king Shishupal. The political and military activities of Chedi are reflective of period's complex interstate relationships and the shifting powers of various kingdoms. Next up we have Kosambi. The Kosambi is a state which was recognized for its cotton textile and was situated on the right bank of Yamuna river. So the location of Kosambi is on the right bank of Yamuna river, and this state was significant for its cotton production. Here on the left hand side you can see an ancient coin from Kosambi. The capital was identified with present day village of Kosam and was noted for its impressive fortification. Kosambi had impressive fortification structure, and that can be seen in the present day village of Kosam. Kosambi's economic significance is underscored by its position along vital trade route and its capacity for agricultural production. So Kosambi was significant both because of its agricultural production and because of its position being in the junction of various trading routes. The region played a significant role in ancient narratives with stories recounting the rivalry between kings and romantic tales of royal marriages. So there are various stories where Kosambi or the rulers of Kosambi played a significant role. The kingdom's political history can be reconstructed from a variety of sources, including archaeological findings suggesting a rich and complex past. Next up we have Kuru. Kuru was one of the most important kingdoms in the epic of Mahabharata. It was the central kingdom to conquer which and war was fought, which was one of the greatest wars fought in the Indian subcontinent according to the epic of Mahabharata. Kuru kingdom with its capital at Indraprastha, modern day Delhi, modern day Delhi, was governed by the family of King Yudhishthir, a figure from epic literature who is also referenced in genealogies. So this Yudhishthir is the king from Kuru Vansh, which is mentioned significantly in Mahabharata, and he was the one who won the war of Kurukshetra and gained control over whole of Indian subcontinent. So this was the story of Mahabharata, and it may have some kind of historicity in it. There definitely was a real person named named Yudhishthir, but whether he was as it is depicted in Mahabharata is a matter of controversy. So Yudhishthir is a figure from epic literature who is also referenced in genealogies. During Buddha's time, the Kuru kingdom was a minor state ruled by a chieftain named as Kauravya and was known for establishing matrimonial alliances with powerful clans like Yadavas, Vojas and Panchalas. So they had matrimonial alliances with Yadavas, Vojas and Panchalas. Now the Kuru kingdom of Mahabharata and Kuru kingdom during the 6th century BC was very much different. In 6th century BC we find the powerful state of Kuru being diminished into a minor state. So during Buddha's time it was ruled by a chieftain named as Kauravya. Kurus were initially a monarchy. By the time of Buddha, they had transitioned into a Sangha or a republican form of governance. As we have seen in the governance structure of Malla, Kurus also started with being a monarchy as it is referenced in Mahabharata, but with the passage of time it became a republican form of governance. Kurus had rich tradition of Vedic culture as their territory is said to have hosted several important Vedic schools and assemblies. So Kuru had a Vedic structure, and in their territory different Vedic assemblies were held. Texts like Uttaradhanya Sutra provide details about the Kurus and their rulers, such as King Ishukara, highlighting the combination of historical and legendary accounts in the region's narrative. Panchal has been mentioned numerous times in Mahabharata, and it is a very important territory in the epic. Panchal encompassed the regions divided by the Ganga river into two parts, with its northern capital at Aichhatra and southern capital at Kampilya. So horizontally the kingdom was divided by the Ganga river, and northern Panchal had the capital at Aichhatra and southern Punjab had its capital at Kampilya. It is known for significant texts like the Ashtadhyayi of Panini, which mentions the Panchala kingdom, illustrating its cultural influence. So Ashtadhyayi is a text composed by Panini, and there we find multiple references to Panchala kingdom. The kingdom played a pivotal role in the epic Mahabharata, as we know that Princess Draupadi hails from Panchal, suggesting both historical importance and mythological significance. Ancient texts mentioned King Chulani Brahmadatta of Panchal, indicating the historical lineage of Panchal rulers. So we find King Chulani Brahmadatta as an ancestor of all the Panchal rulers from the 6th century BC. Panchal is highlighted for its strong ancient tradition, including the Vedic culture and early Sanskrit language, evidencing the region's historical and scholarly contributions. So Panchal was very much significant for its numerous presence in Ashtadhyayi by Panini and in Mahabharata. Matsya. Matsya is another important kingdom which has also been mentioned numerous times in Mahabharata. We know Virat Raja Virat hailed from the kingdom of Matsya. The Matsya kingdom, with its capital at Viratanagar, was an important polity of the Vedic period, and it's frequently mentioned in the ancient text. So this was a very significant kingdom, and Viratnagar itself is a very significant city both in the Vedic period and is also mentioned in the text of 6th century BC, highlighting its importance for a long period of time. The founder king was Virat, and this region is associated with epic narrative of Mahabharata, specifically during the Pandavas' year of incognito exile. So when the Pandavas, the 5 Pandav brothers, went to exile, they hided in the territory of Virat. Matsya was strategically located near important trade routes and had relationship with other significant states like Kuru, Panchal and Surya Sena. The kingdom's military campaigns and strategic policies are noted in text, highlighting its role in the broader political landscape of the time. So Matsya was very much important alliance had very much important alliance with Kuru, Panchal and Surya Sena, highlighting that it played an important role in the political landscape of 6th century BC. The narrative of Matsya intersects with mythological tales, reflecting its integration into wider cultural memory of ancient India. Surya Sena. Surya Sena was another important territory which was positioned just below Kuru, just on the southern part of Kuru kingdom. Surya Sena kingdom, centered at Mathura, played a significant role in both political and cultural spheres of ancient India. So the region of Mathura was the place where Surya Sena kingdom is said to have been existed. Mathura was a key cultural and economic hub, later becoming important in the development of early Buddhism and Jainism. So these two religions, Buddhism and Jainism, had a very much developmental impact on the city of Mathura. The kingdom was associated with Yadava clan, which had connections to legendary character Krishna and his narratives. So Yadavas were considered to have kinship relation with avatar of Vishnu called Lord Krishna. Therefore, it has a very much significant in legends and epics. Surya Sena's location at the crossroads of northern trade routes made it a nexus for cultural exchange and economic activity. So this location was at the crossroads of trade routes in northern India. Thus, we can assume Surya Sena had a very important commercial significance. The region was historically influential as evidence in texts such as Bhagavati Sutra and the Mahabharata. Ashmak. Ashmak is one of the most important state because of its location in the southern part of Indian subcontinent. Ashmak or Ashvaka kingdom was located on the banks of Godavari river and is identified with the modern region of Paithan. So modern region of Paithan on the banks of Godavari river is where the kingdom of Ashmak seems to have been existed. The texts like Ashtadhyayi by Panini and Markandeya Purana emphasize Ashmak's role and situate it to the northwest, indicating its regional importance. So all these texts, the Markandeya Purana and Ashtadhyayi by Panini, shows us that Ashmak played a significant role in the regional politics of the period. Initially possibly a monarchy, the kingdom had strategic trade routes connecting it with other regions, reflecting its commercial significance. So this was not only important because of its cultural and political development in southern part of India, but it was also important for its significant commercial functions. The kingdom of Ashmak is frequently mentioned in various texts, contributing to our understanding of the political mosaic of ancient India. Ashmak's history includes cordial relations with Magadha as well as potential conflicts and annexation, showing the fluid nature of territorial control. So it was not that every time a kingdom had alliances with other kingdom. Sometimes there was war, sometimes there was alliances. Avanti. Avanti is very much significant for its presence in the central part of India, right to the west of Chedi. Avanti kingdom was a major entity during ancient period, with its northern and southern parts divided by the Vindhyas and had important cities like Ujjaini and Mahishmati. So Ujjaini and Mahishmati in Madhya Pradesh, Maharashtra region was where the ancient kingdom of Avanti was present. The region was recognized for its strategic locations on trade routes that connected it to the northern and western part of India, making it a significant commercial hub. So this was on the central portion of Indian subcontinent, and therefore it functioned as a region that could provide connections between the north and the south. And still now, even in modern context, Ujjaini is a strategic location for its commercial importance. Avanti was ruled by the Pradyuta dynasty, which was known for its military campaigns and conflicts with neighboring states like Vatsa and Magadha. So King Pradyuta was a very much influential character in those times, who had fought different wars with neighboring states like Vatsa and Magadha. And Avanti during the ancient period had such a power that it could challenge the might of all other 16 Mahajanapads. But with the passage of time, it lost its power. The kingdom played a critical role in shaping the political narratives of the time, as evidenced by its frequent mention in historical and religious texts. So Avanti was a very much powerful kingdom among the Mahajanapads, but with the passage of time it lost its importance. Gandhar. Gandhar is the kingdom in the northwestern part of Indian subcontinent in present day border of Pakistan and Afghanistan. Gandhar was located in the fertile Peshawar valley extending into the valleys of Kabul and Swat rivers, making it a region of significant agricultural and strategic value. So this region, the kingdom of Gandhara, was in the Peshawar valley, and the Peshawar valley is a very fertile place, making it a significant agricultural and strategic hub. Its capital was at Takshashila, which is modern Taxila, and this was an international center for learning and culture, attracting students and scholars from various regions. This Takshila, the territory which was the city which was the capital of Gandhar, possessed the first university in the world, and definitely the earliest university in the Indian subcontinent. And we will find that central characters of Mauryan Empire like the king Chandragupta Maurya is said to have been educated in Taxila University. The region was ruled by kings like Pukkusati, who maintained cordial relations with Magadha, signifying the importance of diplomatic relationship. So Magadha was on the eastern part of Indian subcontinent and Gandhar was on the northwestern part of Indian subcontinent. It had a difference of more than 2000 kilometers between them. So from the relationship between Gandhar and Magadha, we understand the importance and span of diplomatic relationships in 6th century BC. Gandhar became a part of Achaemenid Empire under Persian rule, which introduced new administrative practices and cultural influences. So later on, Gandhar became a part of Persian Empire under the Achaemenid Empire. Therefore, from then onwards, we find a new kind of culture in Gandhar. The region's history is marked by its status as a melting pot of Indo-Greek, Persian and Indian influences, leading to a unique cultural synthesis. So here we find that Indo-Greek culture, Persian culture and early Indian culture came together, and so it was a melting pot of all the three cultures. And Gandhar is also significant in the epic of Mahabharata because the evil power called Shakuni, who was the maternal uncle of the Kauravas, belonged from Gandhar. Kamboja is last of the 16 Mahajanapada that we'll discuss, and it is located in Jammu Kashmir in India. So Kamboja was in the north of Gandhar also. Kamboja was situated in the region of modern day Afghanistan and Kashmir, known for its strategic location along the important trade and invasion route. So it was through this area that all the invaders came and attacked the Indian subcontinent. The region was famous for its horses and horsemen, indicating the importance of cavalry in Camboja's military strength. So this was a place which was famous for its military campaigns with horses. It was likely ruled by a republic or Sangha type governance, emphasizing a collective decision making system. So here we get a form of democracy which is a Sangha type governance. Kamboja's history includes interactions with other significant regions, and it's mentioned in important texts such as Mahabharata and Buddhist literature. So Kamboja has been mentioned in Mahabharata and also in Buddhist literature, and it is situated, its location can be assumed to have been on India's border with Afghanistan. The kingdom's engagement in regional politics, trade and cultural exchange highlights its active role and interconnectedness in political and economic landscape of ancient India. Now we will go through an overview of the entire presentation. The 16 Mahajanapads represent a pivotal era in ancient Indian history characterized by diverse forms of governance ranging from monarchies to republics, reflecting a complex tapestry of political organization. These states were spread across the Indian subcontinent with their influences extending from northwestern regions like Gandhara and Kamboja to Gangetic plains such as Magadha and Kashi, highlighting the geographical expanse of the Vedic civilization. The Mahajanapads played a crucial role in economic and cultural developments of the period, with centers like Taxila and Ujjaini emerging as hubs of learning, commerce, and political power. Political dynamics among the Mahajanapads were very much fluid, marked by alliances, rivalries, and warfare, as documented in various historical and religious texts, which still serve as primary sources for reconstructing this period. The transition from Vedic period to establishment of larger empires such as the Magadhan Empire marked the end of Mahajanapad period and laid the foundation for the next phase of Indian history. In our next video, we will learn about how Magadha rose to power. The legacy of Mahajanapads is integral to understanding the evolution of Indian polity, society, and culture, leaving a lasting impact that resonates through the India's historical narrative. So that was all about the 16 Mahajanapads. Here in introduction we have gone through the sources of learning the 16 Mahajanapads, and later on we have discussed all the states in detail. Hope you have liked it. So as usual, support me so that I can bring brighter contents in future. Thank you so much for your love and support.